Okay. Hello. Good afternoon, Mr. Jones. How you doing? Hey, Thorolf. How you doing? Okay. Okay. Yes. I gotta get myself all situated again as to where I was with this last time I picked it up. I'll close some things down so we don't have stuff open we don't need. Docker's safe to close for right this second. Oh, well. Minimize. Good. I finally got some breakfast and it really mellowed me out from my hunger crazy. Nice. Uh, yeah. Okay. Yeah, getting food can make all the difference. It's amazing. You could be, especially with programming. Like I've always found, always something that you can focus on. That once you get into it, it can get kind of to the point where you don't notice those things as much, and then you realize when you stop. And I do not like being hungry. Okay, so what am I going to do today? Well, I'm going to try and progress this little application a bit, a little game, I suppose. Feels like a bit of a cheat calling it a game. Um, the goal of this project overall is to just basically get some idea of how to put games together in Godot. The aim is not to make it an amazing game. I'm not aiming for perfection. I'm aiming for understanding some of the rules. Fail to build. Okay. You're running the... Really? That got built in as a dependency? You know that part where I said I didn't need Docker? I was looking at ordering a lunch pizza. That's how hungry I was, but finally got out grocery shopping instead. Dear. Yeah. Okay, that'll fix that problem. It doesn't have a dependency on that, but... Okay, so this is my little game, right? So I can fly along, I can press spacebar to shoot, I can move around the screen, not very fast, obviously, and I can know when I've blown up the enemies, and I get my score. So I think the next thing to do is make the enemies fire back, right? That seems like a logical next step. So I'll hit the end of the screen in a second. There you go. Now just fly around. Okay. So the other week I learned how to paint, so I could figure out how to put the tile map down. I got the player attached to the camera. The player script has my movement on it, right? I have a cannon object that has the ability to fire projectiles, so I can attach a cannon to a player, and that will allow me to fire from where that is. I have a camera stop object. I have attached a stopper to the camera so that when it hits, it actually stops moving the camera. If it's a final camera stop. Scoring. So I have a scorekeeper that when it starts up, it looks for all the enemies. This isn't something I think is a good idea, but we'll learn that as we go. And listens to their collision. So when they collide, we just say, "Yep, they've gone," because the actual enemy, when it's hit, if it's not a projectile, then it quits. Otherwise, it tells the bullet that a collision occurred. That cues the bullet free, and then we invoke an event for collision occurred, and then we I start a timer and switch the explosion to visible. So the timer is what shows the explosion on the and then when it quits, it exits out and resets everything. And yeah, projectile right now. This is a partial projectile, but I think it needs to be abstract because obviously this is going to change because now I'm going to do the return. I'm going to fire bullets down the screen, or projectiles down the screen, which won't work very well with that physics process. So yeah. So a projectile has a visible on-screen notifier that you set on it. Which reminds me, why does that work? Why does that work? Because projectile isn't something I set up in here. Partial, is that needed by Godot somewhere? Yeah, so Godot uses because Godot uses .NET 8 .NET 8 and C# 12. It uses code generation. So it builds everything else it needs. So everything needs to be partial so that it can extend the classes and that and build them into the actual code. So yeah. Okay, so we have a player, we have a stopper, we have a camera. The stopper, this is the stopper, so it moves up the screen, and then when it hits that, which is the ending stop, right? The scorekeeper, and then I attach an instance to the scorekeeper, the camera, and the world map to the world map. I don't need to attach. That's just the painting. The game info I attach to the camera so it moves up with, so I can put the that's the scene itself, so I can do that. So I'm learning. I'm not going to say this is going to be easy. Can I do this? Where are you? Where are you? No. I had this in... Could have sworn I had this the other day. I definitely committed it because it was necessary to. Let's open that. Open in Explorer. Yeah, it's in Git. Godot testing. Okay, so I called it "Can I do this?" but I actually called it project testing. So that is this. It is that project. Gotcha. Okay, and it's not published yet. Okay. It's just because it was blank. I'm not used to seeing that. Okay. So I need to not open stuff that I don't need to click on. Figure out how to make an enemy fire a projectile, and then figure out how to give the projectile a direction. Do I make So my bullets go really fast, but the enemy bullets, I don't want to go too fast, right? Do I make the enemy? Yeah, I'm going to make the enemy fire at me. I'm not going to do the simple thing, which would be to fire it down the screen, right? So the projectile for an enemy is going to be different than that, because it's going to need to know my position. That's going to give me some extra education on who knows what about what, right? Because that's one of my biggest bugbears, is that thought that everything needs to know about everything in game dev. And I'm yet to see that not happen. Okay, so to do this, we're going to need tile maps. How do I break this down? The atlas isn't necessary. Let's remove that. Nope, wrong thing. Remove the atlas. Yeah, making clean game code is difficult, and that's what's always stopped me, because I always think, oh well, I have to make it cleaner. I can't do this. This doesn't feel right. And what I've got to get over is that feeling, because I've got to treat this as if I'm learning for the first. Well, I am learning for the first time, right? This isn't something I've done. This is the furthest I've ever got with anything that looks like a game. When I was a kid, writing code into, like, basic code into computers and stuff, that got frustrating fast, because it never worked, or I didn't understand enough. And I've never enjoyed the copy and paste approach to programming, right? I need to understand at least what I'm writing in, why it's doing what it is. Even if I don't understand every single line of it, I still need to understand why I'm doing it. And what I've got to do right now is trust myself that I can bundle through and get this working, and no one's judging me. Well, at the same time, getting it done. And let me put the light on. It'll be yeah, I'm sad to admit the first many years of my programming career was as a YouTube tutorial copy paster, and that's not uncommon. I've never sat right with that. So sometimes what I'll do is I'll have to watch someone do something, or someone will show me a way of doing something, and then I have to go off and do that many, many times to feel comfortable they understand it. I do it with patterns. I do it with entire architectures. Sorry, sometimes if someone shows me a way of doing something, I've got to go off and figure it out. So with game dev, obviously my desire to kind of follow the normal rules kicks in, and I get stuck on the minutia, right? So what I've got to do here is I've just got to make this work, even if it's inefficient, just so I can understand why it doesn't work, right? I could be told, hey, that's not going to work because this, or this is not going to work because this. And I suppose because I'm so used to a very linear path through, that this idea of many things firing and all these events thing and tracking all these objects just seems expensive. So it scares me to be inefficient with some of these things as well. But I've got to just do it, right? Okay, so if we go to components, we have a bullet, and a bullet is that. An enemy fire, I've made the same thing essentially, right? They're almost the same thing for right this second. So enemy fire exists as a scene. You can write the worst performing code, it will still run fine. It's honestly scary. All the important stuff is well optimized and hidden from you. Right. So I'm over optimizing. Profits, hello, how you doing? I'm over optimizing too soon. And I need to get out my own headspace on that one. That's for certain. And just get something working. Okay, so the goal will be, and this is actually going to be harder than I thought. I think the enemy will need to fire a projectile. So the enemy needs a. Well, let's go to the player a second. So the player isn't a scene. The player is just a script, right? So the player is that, and then the player is attached to the main scene. See, they don't help themselves with this because the naming of some things is just off. Like everything's a scene. This feels weird. But yeah, another glorious day. Hope you're well. I'm okay. I'm working on 4 hours of very bad sleep, so I'm a little bit tired. And doing this was something I was desperately looking forward to. So yeah. I've ever touched Unity. Yeah, Unity. I've touched Unity. I've worked in Unity a bit. I've tinkered with that. I've worked with some other people, and they were awesome with it. And I just kind of did some peripheral stuff. Actually, I did something similar to this, the scene stop stuff. Figured that out. And yeah, I've just been watching Sorcery, and Canny and Fullbox do Godot stuff primarily. I mean, I know there's a whole bunch of others. But yeah, they've really inspired me to kind of pick this up and try. Yeah. I'll rest this weekend. There's a long weekend coming up, but yeah. So I'm slightly off. Please forgive me. I am trying to retain my focus. Okay, so our player has a cannon attached to them. So we want to do something similar because a cannon is essentially an emitter of the bullets, right? Of the projectile. Sorry, I got to avoid the word bullets. So if we add a child node 2D, no, it's just a node, I think. Cannon is a node 2D because it has space, and that's called cannon. And then we can attach the script cannon by dragging that up there. I know I can drop down and stuff, there's other ways. So now this has a cannon attached to it. And then similar to the player, right, the player, so now on the enemy will have a cannon. I'm using namespaces. I'm not entirely certain that Godot by standard does. Hey Wesley, how you doing? Because I've not seen many namespaces, but we'll find out, right? Okay, so now when I build that, what should happen is the cannon should appear there, and then I can drag that there. This is confusing me. This is what confuses me the most, right? It's like, okay, so I create things in here, but then I can reference those things in this side on things that are within here, but why doesn't it get a reference because I've attached it, right? So there's things that don't make sense from a visual perspective. Tired, laid floor yesterday, ground level at my sister's, and this morning moved all the big stuff like fridge. Oof. Yeah, that's a lot of stuff to move. Okay, so now we have a cannon, right? And a cannon needs a bullet scene. And that's going to be that. Right, because that has... The cannon has the bullet scene, and that creates a new projectile. Oh, but that needs to be a projectile, right? So... Yeah, it's projectile. Okay, so this has a speed, and it needs a notifier. that mean that's got that? Yeah. Right. Okay. So that's the screen space notifier. So that tells me when the thing has left the screen, so it can dispose of itself. In part because you don't have a cannon referenced in your tank script, or counterintuitively you can have the tank reference a cannon in a different node. Yeah. I think I just got to get my head around the structuring of these things. It's a little bit. Okay, so now this will emit a. If I call fire on the cannon, it will emit a projectile, but it'll go up the screen, right? Because this has a projectile script. But the projectile script says, so it has a notifier, and it emits from the cannon, but its direction is determined by this. So it'll go straight up the screen. So if I was to start this and somehow trigger fire, then yeah. So there's a few things I need to work out, right? When do I fire? How do I control the direction I fire? I think that what I want to do is get the player position and fire in that direction, right? We're going to find out, right? Math is not my strongest point, which is why an app developer I have been. And I've avoided a lot of tax and monetary stuff. Not deliberately, just pure chance. I know that I can add the vectors together and move the position. I have no clue how the structure is. So far, what I guess they're similar to mono behaviors in Unity, if I have to guess. Yeah. Again, there's a lot of I think the problem with the game engines is they start with the concept of abstraction and then make things work. From what I've seen so far, like they've all started, like Unreal started with a game, and then they kind of built the parts around it, and then Unity and Godot. Yeah, I think it's the challenge with generalizing everything. Okay, so let's make the enemy fire first, right? So the enemy has a cannon, right? We kind of need a frequency on which to fire. So we should probably have a timer, because we don't want to just go fire, right? Yeah. I'm flexible enough to do things like in 20 different ways to become, yeah. So it's just they work on the abstractions, and the abstractions don't carry it to everything, but they work for some things. But they kind of serve those dual purposes. So I think it's just the evolution of the engines that makes it more confusing. So if only we had a timer. Okay, so we probably need to start a timer, but we only want to start the timer when this is in sight. Of the player. Otherwise, we'll be firing bullets around and spawning bullets the entire time, right? So tank scene. So we had a child node. Visible on-screen notifier. That has... That's not what I want there, though. I don't think, because that's gonna basically use that space to tell me, and that's not what I want. Like for the projectiles, the visible on screen notifier, right? I mean, I can size that down. I probably should because it's right. But it's basically if that's not visible on screen, then it will. Yeah, I already sized that down. So that will remove it from the scene, right? Because it'll fire, and then it'll say, "Oh, are you actually off screen? Yeah, you are. Okay, well then you're done." Do you already know when the enemy is supposed to fire? Not right now. So what I wanted to start with was just making it fire when it's on screen. Like worry about, because when it's on screen, the player exists, right? So then I can worry about, okay, well, as soon as I know that it's on screen and it's firing, that's great. Now when I um, when I'm on screen, then where's the player? That's so one challenge at once, right? So that's my simple thought about it right this second. So basically, if I start right, so that will fire. Now that will start firing. Now that will fire. So step one, make them fire when they come on the screen, and not see projectiles coming off the top of the screen. And then step two, figure out where the player is and aim towards the player. Gotcha, just trying to get some context. So normally what they would do with bullets is give them a lifetime, destroy the bullets after X time. Right. All I'm doing is attaching the notifier to each projectile, so it basically tells it when it goes out of the screen, and then that's fine because then it can end it. Doesn't have to worry about the time. So this is going to be the challenge, like, because obviously right now, I'm just going up the screen with the projectile, but I've got two options: subclass it, create a player projectile, which always goes up, and then create a other projectile. But this will be a calculation because I'll need to move it in the direction of where I determined the player was. So it's not just an up or down calculation then, is it? It's, yeah, okay. One thing at once. I guess I'll learn how to do some math today. So let's get, what's the best way of notifying these are on screen? So obviously the simple way would be to kind of put like an area around each one, and then if I enter the area, start firing. But that's not really a normal shoot 'em up, right? A normal shoot 'em up is see player on screen, fire at player. That's all that is. And there's no point trying to be clever about it because again, then you just be able to fly through everything, so it wouldn't really make sense. So realistically, I want to okay, so let's do Godot. Check if so Hey, Full Boss, how you doing? Okay, so it's just if it's visible on screen at all. So it's good enough. Yeah, I don't think we'll be building a game anytime soon. But again, the goal is to figure this out, right? If I struggle, I struggle. Okay, so a visibility notifier would work here because it's just when that's visible on screen, right? So let's do that. Let's do that. Actually, probably do want to be a bit bigger, don't I? Yeah. Transform. Okay, so notifier. Actually, there's no other notifiers right now, so why go with really long names? So now the tank is the enemy. So the enemy can get a export private on-screen notifier. What's an enabler? Good morning. Still trying to establish a new routine, but just wanted to say hi at least once since I've been able to at least greet you during the stream. One line, thank you very much for the hello and welcome back. You have been missed. I'm looking forward to resuming your streams. It's changing jobs is always a bit of a jumble. I get it. Okay. By the way, if you haven't followed him, well, I'm going to shout out one other person before I shout out one line. But Dan has started dropping the stream reminders in my go live notifications and in my Discord, and he's actually doing game development. So if you haven't visited Dan, I would recommend building a game about anger, which is kind of, what's the word, cathartic? That's pretty interesting. Doing all these sorts of things. So, visible on screen notifier. So if we put this on, notifier, let's get set, and then go back to Godot. Oh, need to build. Then go back to there. You see there's notifier now, and now I can grab that and drag that over. So now there's a notifier, and then we can listen to that event. I kind of like doing it this way. I don't know whether it's the right way or whatever. And obviously with time, I will learn. But I kind of prefer this method of getting these. You can do them. I think you can do timer, ending timer equals get child timer, right? And you can do it by name. So you can do the same thing there. But yeah. I gotta be consistent as well. What the heck have I done there? Because you see, Godot doesn't really make a difference, right? Whether I make them get sets or private variables. Now, by .NET standards, I should make them private variables and make them underscores, or by most standards. Pretty sure you're doing the correct way, at least in Unity. It's a preferred approach, yeah. So, you know, we'll get there, but okay. Okay, thank you. Notifier dot on visibility changed. I still refuse to acknowledge the standard in use underscore for private variables. I like the underscore private variables. I'm just like concerned as to why I went and flip flop between the two of them in the same piece of code. Although I only just did this part, right? So, because again, it's not going to make a difference to Godot, because Godot is going to expose them as the moment I do the export, it's going to expose them as these fields, and it'll do the formatting of the name regardless. So from a consistency standpoint, it's probably better to do it that way, right? But notifier visibility changed. So here, private timer firing timer. So firing timer equals new timer. Auto start equals false. The wait time second timer can only emit once per rendered frame at most. This means that very low wait times will behave in significantly different ways. Underscore is annoying, but I use it for private read only. Plus less typing, yeah. Well, I mean, that's a common standard in .NET, at least, the underscore variable. Apex, good morning, how you doing? So, I've just got to learn over time about preferences and stuff there, so I'm stoked for this stream. Wait till you see how I do. Temper your expectations. So if we do 0.5, if you do a solo project, you can use whatever you want. True. Yeah, you can. It is still important to try and be consistent, though, just for your own sake, because you will confuse yourself. And there's nothing worse than looking at code and thinking, well, what was I thinking? So, you know, some level of consistency helps. Okay, and then timeout equals... That would be good. Yeah, that's not going to work that way, is it? Firing timer dot timeout plus equals. Okay, so we're going to do that, and then we're going to do cannon.fire. Okay, so firing timer dot start. Actually, if notifier dot is visible, returns truth to node is present in the scene tree if its visible property is true and all this one. There is a node time you can use, scene tree timer. Is there a big difference in that? Let's learn. I don't want one shot though. Yeah, it's a one shot timer. I don't want a one shot. Yeah. So scene tree timer would, so that would be allow me to say, hey, after X number of seconds, do this thing, right? So you can just fire it off. That would actually be more useful for my. That would actually be more useful for this one because it's a one shot, right? So this would be better as a scene tree timer. Because I'm using it as a one shot. Yeah, one shot. So yeah, that would be better. Okay, so what I should see is as I move up the screen, if this is working, they should start firing projectiles up the screen. Right? Baby steps. Nope, nope, nope. Okay, so let's go and figure out why. Notifier, tank, enemy. Auto start, false, timeout, on firing timer, timeout. My debugger had 7 errors. Object reference errors. Okay. Because, well, hold on. Notifier wasn't set. Did I not? Oh, no. Ah. Thank you. I suppose that's another thing I got used to, right? To me, that would error straight away. It would crash, especially as I'm building inside of here. So the problem there was I was running it and I'd reset those things. Okay, no errors, but no success. So let's start that up again. Okay. Hey, Sorcery, how you doing? I also need to shout out. So today, after changing roles, online is returning to streaming after a short break. Says his nose below tank. Yeah, so I was talking about that before, right? Whether I prefer, I get that it would do that, but right now I'm doing the drag and drop stuff on there, and I like that. But yeah. So yeah, yeah. One line is returning back to streaming, and we'll be working on financial management project. So we both are trying to develop large applications on stream. I still might choose to skip Wednesday stream. Absolutely, build is definitely an understandable thing to miss for. Yeah. MS build can be kind of fascinating if there's a bunch of cool technologies there. I'm on my mobile and can't interact much, but I'll be listening. If you need anything, I'll do my best to help. Thank you, Sorcery. Appreciate it. I'm just trying to muddle my way through right this second. So I think what happened there is, hold on, notifier. Visible. So that's visibility of the notifier, right? Not the visible. The visibility isn't changing. That's the problem. Because we're not. Actually, we don't care about that, do we? Why do we don't need to listen to it being changed? We just need to know that it is visible. So if we do, what's the public override process? We don't want to do that. No, that would be bad. So I don't want to do a timer. Hey, holiday in Canada, Victoria Day today. Nice. Hello, Dota. Good morning. So that would be bad. My thought is, oh, actually, hold on. Let's do that. Let's put that back again. Let's see if when because I didn't give it enough time to see if one of the ones that comes on screen happens. You could do that, bud. But you might want to flag, yeah. So I was pausing because I need the time mode refire, right? I don't want to, but I'm thinking that there might be a different way of doing that. Just so, but that one came on screen, right? So the visibility notifier on these definitely has to have changed. So they're not changing visibility. So let's go back and learn to see if that visible there, right? Visible on-screen notifier. Now I need to run it from here because I need to debug it. Yeah, that doesn't fire. But I know it does fire, or I know it at least tells me that because the tank fire cannon. But I'm thinking that might not be the. I'll still need the visibility. Let's do this. Let's go back to the code. Let's take this. I know that's not working anyway, so it's fine. Public override process, and then this gd dot. What's the print? Enemy is visible. Actually, can I get a name of this or something? What? Print what? Nice variable name there. This dot. Name. There you go. Okay. Thank you very much. name. Okay, just in case. So what I'm doing is I'm just trying to see if that notifier actually does tell me anything about whether I'm visible, whether it's a toggle or whether it's a Nissan Singh, welcome in. Hello, how you doing? I want to become a side game developer. I want to know what software and languages are needed to do. Well, C# with Unity and with Godot is pretty popular right this second. I am not a game developer. I am trying to learn a little bit about game development here. I've been an application developer for many years. Let's see what the log. So I'm just starting, but I can recommend. There is a lot of great developers on Twitch. Several of them. I'm thankful for being here today. Yeah, but there are, Apex, Sorcery, Fullbox. They're all great Godot developers. They're in here as well, and so there's I would recommend C#. Because even if, Unity, there's a lot of games built on Unity as well, so it is not like it's going away. ObjectDB instances leaked. Okay, so that does not tell me what I want to do. I had a mess of Angular stuff this weekend, so that's why that's up there. Godot. Is that because your quotes and not backticks? No. No, that's string interpolation. That's fine. Yeah. Is present, but technically that should have fired all the time, because unless it's visible. Is visible in tree. The notifier should. Oh, it's ancestors. Show the notifier. Bloop. Oh, that visible. Okay, awesome. Not visibility in terms of that's the visibility in there, right? But that would be general visibility, wouldn't it? So that's not what I'm after, is it? So I've been relying on this screen exited. Let's try that. Yeah. Screen entered. So I can do visibility change. Visibility change is probably the best. Is on screen. Let's try that. Tank 3 is on screen. Tank 4. Tank 5 is on screen. That fires a lot as well. Tank 6 is on screen. Okay, so we've got some sight there. Screen entered. It's not going to reappear, that's the thing, so... But visibility change should do that. I swear visibility change is what I want. I don't want to do... I don't want to track 2 events when 1 will do. Am I doing... I have to learn about cleaning things up, which things need to be cleaned up. So the thing is, none of these are actually changing. So I know they're on screen. But this doesn't happen. So let's try that. No. Oh, I know. I think I know why. Let's go back here. Cannon. Where's the cannon? Oh, it's right in the middle of there. That's fine. No dot visible. Animated Patriots, hello, how you doing? So, did you say visible? Where? In the code? If notify it's on screen, so that it knows this, but this isn't triggering. Right? Doing good, how are you? Okay, so that is firing. Ah. That's challenging. Okay, so let's remove that. So the problem is there, that is not. Which, where would you do node.visible, Apex? Timer, so this one, process callback. idle, wait time 1 second, one shot, auto start off. I mean, that's idle. I mean, that doesn't really matter. That should be that. That should start. But the problem is this isn't firing. So this is happening. So let's go back to visibility change and see if we can get that. So that doesn't work. So visibility changed because they're on the screen. So that's not the right thing to use. Green entered. We'll work with that for this second. So I want to, if they're on the screen, then start the timer. That shouldn't fire more than once. So let's do that. Name, firing timer started. So look. So we got timer tanked 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, the firing timers are started. gd.print name firing. Go with that. So for those of you who haven't been in here before, okay, so it's not firing the timer. Okay. I'm not normally doing game dev. Game dev is something a little bit different to me. I'm trying to learn my way around this. It's been something that has fascinated me for a long time, and I've never plucked up the courage to actually sit down and do it. So I'm trying to do something that is both new to me, but try and take my experience into it. So I'm building a small shoot 'em up game to try and learn more about the mechanics, how Godot works, how to build scenes, how to build conditions in there, and try and learn more about game dev in general. This will be probably Monday and Tuesday of the stream for the time being, just to try and do something cool. Yeah, I'm always open to thoughts and opinions. I'm not necessarily looking for hand-holding. Help is like Apex, prompting with some stuff. I'm okay with that, right? I'm not saying no backseating at all, but I'm not looking for a hand-guided tutorial. I'm just going to try and figure this out, and if I fail, I fail. If I stumble, I stumble, and that's kind of what I was saying at the beginning of the stream, right? My problem has been I've been always afraid for the stumbling. I've been afraid to not do it the right way, and I realized after all these years that right way is oftentimes an opinion versus an actual fact, and the right way can be misconstrued. So I will endeavor to work through this and see if I can get it working. Okay, so firing timer should hit fire on the cannon. So it's not even hitting this, so I don't even know, I'm not even getting past that piece. It definitely is starting. Let's verify that it stops. Stopped. Because that could be another thing as well. We could be stopping and starting. Okay, so they started. We've now started 4. We stopped 2, we stopped tank, we stopped 3, 5, yep. 5 started. Okay, so we are starting and stopping the timers. Water drink water doesn't have a NuGet config. It's trying to use my default NuGet, which has the wrong version of .NET referenced. What do you mean your natural keypad it? I'm gonna keep trying. Oh, well, Dan, hello. Thank you for the raid. I appreciate it. And Atava, hello. How you doing? Welcome in, raiders. Things are about to go downhill. Water drink water doesn't have a NuGet config. It's trying to use my default NuGet, which is the wrong version. There's no explicit config in there, no. I'm fine. How are you doing? I'm doing good. I'm having a little bit of fun with some game development today. Not my normal course, but it is something I'm going to try and do. Let's pull from users on a NuGet. Huh. I haven't seen any issues with that. Up until now. Delta. I'll have to have a look. Is your experience also in C# or did you have to learn that as well? My experience is in C#. I've been a .NET developer for about 20 years. I've been a developer for 25 years. I normally write applications, so a chunk of the stream is going to be, not this stream, but I do stream building a larger application. And, you know, games are something that I've always wanted to do, but I've always been scared of. So I'm trying to get over that fear. And why not do it on camera with, you know, people who know what they're doing watching? Well, out of the box question, I'm still 18. I want to know your experience during this 25 years. Some advice for my coding journey. Modex Studio, thank you very much for the follow. Dan, sorry, how did the stream go? Did you make much progress in the game? I was lurking, but I was trying to get my stream started up, unfortunately. But yeah, how are things today? I mean, advice for coding, advice for your journey is keep learning. Just don't worry about. So one of the things that stopped me from doing this up until now is because I've had this expectation that there's a right and efficient way of doing it. And because I feel that I'm not doing it the right way, I stop doing it and I give up too soon. I'm going to make mistakes in this and I've got to embrace those mistakes and understand, oh, that's why that was a problem later on, right? But if you just stop yourself because you're worried about what you might do, then you're never going to make progress. So I may be doing some things that are odd to people. I may be doing some things that seem normal, and I'm just happening to land on the right solutions. You know, there's going to be a mix of those things happening here. So I just got to try and grow. So along the journey, just keep learning. Just keep enjoying what you're doing and building software that you're proud of and that you're happy with, and, you know, keep expanding your mind in terms of things you can pick up. I'm facing an issue. Can you help me with that? How to prevent multiple login with the same ID in .NET? Multiple login. That's a. I mean, you're basically looking to track sessions and try and stop the same user logging in. You could track the IP address of the user that's logged in, and if they log in from a different IP, bounce them. If you stream, you have much more stress, and because of that, you'll work much faster. Or if you're unlucky, you will spend all your time talking to people in chat. You know, for what I normally do, Vertex, again, I don't. If I'm streaming, I'm not trying to be productive necessarily, so I embrace the chaos. I love talking about software development, so I consider that lucky, not unlucky. If I'm going to stream what I'm doing, then I'm wanting to show people what I'm doing, right? So whether it be, in this instance, it's, hey, look, I'm trying this. It's something that I've never really attempted, and I'm trying to build on, or so look at me fail. Yeah, I mean, the streaming definitely adds pressure, adds a little stress, because it is kind of nerve-wracking. Yeah. Well, it's true of life, though. We all have our opinions on how something should be done, but there's oftentimes many ways of doing something, and yeah. Yes, using cookies. I think it's okay. So if you're tracking who the user is and where they're logged in from, I mean, basically you want to see if they've got an active session on a different IP, and if they do, then deny the login. What kind of development do you normally do? My own code scares me. Mine does too. So I will jump to it slightly just because it's worth demonstrating. So on stream, I normally develop the software that I would normally build, right? So I'm building an agile project management platform that is aimed at helping. Oh, really? Can't run, huh? Aimed at helping development teams gather information and actually produce software quicker. And actually, I'm opening it up, but I can't actually demonstrate it because I'm ripping it apart right this second. Because the last couple of days have been focused on the Angular aspects of things. So yeah, I normally build this application, which realistically I can only demonstrate like the login screen for right this second. If it opens. Let's see if it'll open. It's going to open to the login page, I bet. Oh, there you go. Okay, so I've been building this application. There's nothing much to demonstrate because I've been doing this. Let's see if this works. I did put light and dark mode in over the weekend as well, so yeah. So I do build normally application stack stuff. So a lot of there's a lot of things like Kafka, SQL Server, message bus stuff in here. A lot of API gateways and stuff. So that is my normal stuff. My project became more solid through the stream, and I got to learn about some topics I otherwise might have missed. I agree that it takes more time, though. Yeah, Go C# documentation is really slim. Yeah, I'm assuming that for the most part I could use the Python stuff and just kind of translate, if nothing else, to give me an idea. Yeah. When they go around every breaks, yeah. So okay, so basically for the 2 days of the week now, so Mondays and Tuesdays for the foreseeable future, I will focus my efforts on the game dev stuff. This is just because the other words. I have been building another app on stream that is aimed at helping people who are not yet comfortable with development, in general, or they are and they want an application to work on. So there's this application. This is what Dota's mentioning. He says as it refuses to load. So there is. Is that just crashing on me? Web config is what it? No, it shouldn't be. GitHub.com, TBD friends, water drink water. There you go. Okay, so water drink water, which you can get to through here, should go into both chats. Yep. Is a project that is basically a small application that is aimed at allowing you to track your water consumption. So I've been doing this on stream for the past several months, Mondays and Tuesdays. But it's got to a point where it's big enough that there's enough there to look at and for people to tinker with, and ask questions about. And again, it's the aim of this project is one where you can kind of, if you want to learn something, you can go off and use the application to learn, how to add a different UI. If you want to put an Angular or a React front end on an existing API, you can do that. And there's a demonstration app built in Blazor that will demonstrate how it should work. Right. So there's a bunch of issues there, and you can check them out and work on an issue, or you could just check the code and play with it if you wanted to. So, and there's an existing PR to review there, but you can go off and do that as well. So that is what I've been working on streams on Mondays and Tuesdays. But I'm mixing in the Godot development because I want to stay energized. And it is something I want to do, and B, this has hit a point where I'm just doing more development on it, and it's not really what the intent was, and there's enough there now to work with, to tinker with and play with. Yeah. That's okay if you dislike parts of the engine. I'm not sure what the action call function you're describing is. Sorry. My opinion about Godot is that personally I'm not a huge fan of the way things interact in Godot. For example, I'm not a fan of the input system and the weird action call function, or what they call. You mean signals? I would imagine from the way you said that. Are you a Unity dev, Modex? The way to refer for objects to do something from scripts, and like you have an object and you can interact with it. Yeah, signal. Yeah, okay. Events and signals. That's going to bend my brain up a little bit, I think. Were signals introduced because GD or Python doesn't have an eventing model? I'm not sure about Python. And they kind of carried it across because they have to, but yeah. One session per user login, so that means that you cannot share your credentials and use it multiple times when a user logs in, and then another user tries to use the same credit, the second one gets access. Mr. Tranhorn, good morning. How are you doing? The day has been hectic so far. How can we do it? One session per user login. I mean, again, short of tracking that the user's already logged in from a different IP and then denying access on the second one, that's a lot of messy code to write. Or you bump the first one. For example, my favorite engine would be GameMaker if it would not be that buggy, but my current favorite is Love 2D, which is closer to a framework than an engine. I mean, to start with, no, I'm not. Yeah. I mean, again, I've watched a lot of Godot. I've seen a lot of productivity come from this. Unity has scared me away. I wasn't even influenced by the whole Unity thing because it doesn't affect me. But it's it's something I've tinkered with before and I just didn't get my head around. Godot has made more sense. I watched Apex do a lot of stuff with Godot, and then Sorcery and others, Fullbox, making games with Godot. Just, I really need to get developers that stream back up because there's so many streamers that I would shout out here right this second. You can watch. I'm gonna. I'll provide the shout outs as I can. Anyway, we can take reference from. I don't have any references of doing that. Kind of keeping the user session under control because I don't think it's necessary. I know it can be a seat licensing challenge, but I don't have anything specific to show for that. There's not going to be too many examples out there either, but basically, if you're tracking the session, when a user logs in, you want to track the IP they're logged in from. If you see the IP, again, If they try and log in again from the same IP, that's okay. But if they don't, then you have a choice to make, whether you say nope, you can't log in, you're already logged in on a different machine, or whatever. But yeah, I've worked in those sorts of organizations. It's a licensing challenge that they feel the need to handle. But sometimes it can be because data entry can be messed up. Planning my day, just should be a full-on code date. Nice. Stronghold. Voxel-based game engine, which made in Godot kind of game engine. Huh. Nice. I love the fact that I put Godot in my stream title. I did not update my YouTube header, so it still says Agile Game Platform. And the moment I put game dev in there is the one day that I get active chat from YouTube, and it's about application stuff. This is funny. It's got RPG in a box, but you can even make first-person shooters inside of it. Nice. I mean, there's so many options for building games. So many different tools available to you. Again, it's like, picking a path. It's great to keep looking around, and I keep saying, hey, I could go off and play with Rust, I could go off and play with Go, I could go off and play with all these languages and tinker with these frameworks and technologies, but at some point I want to be productive. I want to do something. I want to complete something, and that's where the challenge lies. Okay, so firing timer. Why is this? So the timer starts and doesn't crash. I think I figured out the water. Add the SDK download, but not the runtime. Not the runtime. You shouldn't have to download the runtime if you got the SDK, right? You're just not on the latest version of .NET, or at least .NET 8. I mean, it's pretty old. Don't think we've updated Watering Water to the latest. If there's any things that you've had to do, I had 8 instead of 8.01. Okay. Yeah, make a note and drop them in the Discord, and we can go make sure they're in the README, because if people have issues the same way, if you could. So yeah, the latest version of the SDK, older version of the runtime. Okay. So let's figure this out. I want to, so the firing timer starts. We hit this. We definitely hit this, but this doesn't fire. And this happens as well. So we know that it's actually stopping and starting the timer. So we know it would actually stop firing when it's off screen. This will unsubscribe events and stuff like that, right? The only difference is, let's add child node, timer, create firing timer. I don't like the idea of this. 0.4. Um, you can call add child to add the node you need. Line 31. The firing timer? Does it need to be in the tree to actually fire? Well, let's find out, because if this works, right? If this works, then yes, it does have to be in the tree, and that will be the difference. Right, so if we build that now, and go back over to here, now the tank has a firing timer. Now run. Firing, 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 firing. Whoa! I mean, I don't know where they're firing from, but they are firing. So there you go. The timer has to be in the tree for it to work. Okay. Bit big. We have a bit of a scaling issue there. Transform scale 0.4. Okay. Well, the lesson learned there, right? So there's a benefit in having this way. Working now with the right. Nice. Okay. Sorry, Delta. My brain was on this, so I've got to figure out how I want to balance that, right? Because I do want to still have drink water as a thing that we can jump onto every now and then, and I can review and stuff. So I've got to figure out that timing. This is just the first day of trying to do this. So as I was talking to you there, I'm thinking, what's the best way of handling that one? YouTube is funny. Okay. So that works, kind of. So the first problem was the emitter, which is the cannon, was not in the same place. New hurdle login screen. What's the hurdle? So I'm going to use an emote. Mr. Anhorn used that on me the other day. No, the steps should, if you follow these steps, right? So there should be a create test account, and it should get you there. This README is different. I mean, guidelines getting started. So you found an issue. I don't know. Again, this is probably best as we build the application out. Building a wiki out of it is probably more effective than an actual README. But again, it's one of those things that has to evolve with the project, right? It's kind of part of the idea is that look at the challenges we have as a development team, right? The fact that I mean, whether you read through that or whether that needs to be first, right? The reason I put guidelines first is because guidelines was there, and that's really what I want to, I don't want any hero commits or things like that, right? Because the idea is that we discuss things. So Rambling Geek put this together, which is very kind. And then I felt this was necessary to do because, rid of the things to look at. So was it actually my manual? This is Remi's. My fork is out of date, so wasn't. So there you go. So you got an old version of it. Okay. We'll go over Wesley's feedback on the project tomorrow. I'll make that an explicit start of the stream, being that I've done more of this today. Okay, so yeah, main is reserved for when there's an actual build that is very useful. Development is everything gets merged into development once it's approved. So development is the default branch. Main is kind of the snapshots branch. Okay. Yeah, no worries. Yeah, I was more focused on getting this done. Again, right now I'm working on 4 hours of sleep. Not good sleep either, so I'm kind of tired and not wholly with it. So this was keeping me energized this morning. So I apologize. Okay, so let me look at this again. So basically what's happening is they don't fire, now they start firing. So they hit themselves. That's awesome. Oh dear. Where are they firing from though? That should start firing now. It should start coming up here. No. Huh. Hi, Shy. Back to game dev. Yeah, I'm gonna give game dev mix some game dev streams in every now and then. Well, Mondays and Tuesdays for the time being, with a bit of water sprinkled in on Mondays and Tuesdays. I tried to make voxel models. Voxel models? I gotta refresh my memory on. Voxel is 3D pixel. Okay. Gotcha. Okay. What do you mean? I thought you were getting a full-time game. No one wants to see this struggle stream that much. I get comfortable with it and build something. So my goal is to get this to work, right? My goal is to make this a game. So things like, okay, I need to know when I've finished the level, create a new level, so transition to new level. My goal will be to get enemy AI in so that I have, well, not AI, no, I don't mean AI. I mean waves. So can't stay long, still need to drive 1.5 hours today. Oh, never going to drive in an hour and a half. Well, thank you for stopping in, Chai. I do appreciate it. So like waves of planes coming across and stuff and firing. So I want those sorts of things, and then I want a kind of high score, right? So saving to disk, a little bit of intelligence, triggered stuff, enemy movement patterns and things like that. So that's kind of the goal for this project. So along the way, I know I will learn a lot of different things, right? How to control things differently, how to save things, how to load up data, Yeah. No worries, Shy. I appreciate it. I appreciate you stopping in. Thank you very much. Did you say movement patterns or movement patterns? My words getting muddled. So why? So the idea is the tank has a cannon, right? That is the cannon. It has a bullet scene. That's his bullet. That doesn't look that big there, does it? That's definitely not that massive. 16 by 17. Same thing. Keeping the stream. Nice one line. Like I expected them to go up screen. Right? I expected the projectiles to go up screen. That's what I expected. But I expected them to emit from these things. So why are they not emitting from there? So projectile, when we add the projectile, we set the global position equal to the weapon global position, and the weapon being the cannon. So we set origin of this, and then we added the bullet. This is the add child, right? So it becomes part of the scene. That should have taught me what I needed to know. That's fine. That's not going to hurt anything, as we've learned. Oh, that will actually hurt something. Tank. Load. Scenes, components, enemy fire. Oh, hold on, that wasn't... I think that's off somehow. That's not... enemy fire. No, that's transformed, right? Why is that scale? But either way, that's... Oh, hold on. Why am I not now shooting? I like how they're ending on that one. The collision stops it. But now I'm not shooting. Main scene. Camera 2D player. Cannon. Load. Try that again. There we go, that's better. What's emitting that though? This is very confusing. Because they don't fire. It's not like it's an on-screen thing. So, enemy gd.print name is firing. Good luck with the game, Dad. I'm going to head out. Thorolf, thank you very much for coming and hanging out. Appreciate it. Have a great rest of your day. Hope your holiday has been relaxing. Tank is firing. Tank is firing. Where are they firing from? Can I go into here and... Oh, no, because I'm not running it in there. That's very confusing. So if I start in here, and when I see them firing, can I go in... Yeah, there's the bullets. Okay, you can't jump to where they are in this, can you? It's not going to show me anything. So, I mean, they are coming out of the cannon. So they're being attached to the right cannon. Because tank 2 was firing. Yep, that's got a bunch of projectiles. What? What are you just doing? Yeah, that's got a bunch of projectiles. Tank 4, several projectiles. Tank 5 should have no projectiles yet. Nope, no one attached to that. Tank 6, Tank 7. Okay. Tank, cannon. Position 120-28. Negative 274. It's like they're emitting relative to the bottom of the screen. If the truth brings us pain, shall we seek it? It's quite a deep question for before 9 o'clock on a Monday morning. How you doing, Marinox? Yeah, I was about to ask, because I'm setting global position, because global position worked for this. Does global position work for them? Achano is relative. But when I fire the projectile, and if the truth brings us pain, shall we seek it? I think you, that's a personal choice. Because position, it only needs to set it originally. Let's see what that changes. No game name. Right, you see how that's doing the same behavior. Look at that. That's interesting. They're they're firing. They're colliding with themselves. That's hilarious. So this game has no name. Basically, I've not done game development before, so I am trying to build my skill set. So this is a learn Godot, learn my way around the tooling, do some simple AI stuff, make some decisions, and try and make something that's kind of playable but not necessarily has an ending. So there's no name to it other than, can I do this? The goal is I'm just building the skill set so I can go on to something different eventually. There is no straightforward answer to this question. It requires understanding your own threshold for how much pain you can endure and whether you find value in knowing the truth or comfortable in ignorance. There are so many other factors to consider as well. Can I do this? Airplane edition. Yeah. The next one will be, can I do this? City builder. So we'll go from 0 to 100 million miles an hour. No, you should be able to. You should be able to just run. Oh, you might. You might need to do the migration. Sorry. Is that in the instructions? I'm not being, because I can't remember whether we put a migration in the startup. I think we did, or I thought we did. Maybe we didn't. No. So migration. Yeah, that's an assumed step, right? So basically, you're gonna have to run. Oh, hold on, no. Let me go here. Yeah, we did. We did. We have an. It'll apply the migrations. When you start up, it'll build the database for the first time. Apply migrations is in there in development mode. So it will build your database there. That might be worth something noting though. Can I build a city edition? Okay. So that box. So the idea of that is because I need it to emit from where I fired it, where I was in space. If this is an honest conversation you'd like to have, we can talk about this in a more appropriate place. This is a development stream, so it's not really relevant to the content. I prefer not to fill up chat with this discussion. You can whisper me, I can just get further though. Nice one line. So first run it fails. And then, no, it should run. Because what should happen, Dota, is the first time it starts up, well, every time it starts up, it'll try and apply the migrations. Apply migrations will check to see if things are there, and it will build the SQLite database. So it shouldn't fail on the first startup. It should work. So now, why don't they react the same way to this? So do I need a projectile that is an enemy? Well, I think I'm going to have to subclass them anyway because of obviously this, right? But it still didn't change their behavior. They behave weird. No, they didn't. They behaved correctly. They behaved correctly because they were killing themselves, which we'll get into in a minute. why that was happening. I need a enemy projectile and a player projectile. And this needs to be an abstract base class. Can't have an abstract partial, can you? Yes, you can. Okay. It's going to be interesting. You shouldn't need to clutch projectile. I'll have to change it somehow. Because the behavior is ever so slightly differently the way I've got it set up, right? So the fact that it leaves the screen is one thing, right? One will leave it down and one will leave it up. This direction, the physics process is going to have to change based upon which one I'm doing, right? The enemy projectile will have directionality, whereas the player projectile just goes up, or more specific projectile directionality. But they'll all need notifiers and they'll all need a speed variable. So there is some commonality, but they differ very much on how to do that. So if we do projectile, and then this does that, and then this inherits projectile, and that says position equals well, so this is gonna evolve, right? I get that it's gonna evolve because the cannon is going to set where it's aiming, whereas with the player it just emits the projectile, right? So the cannon will always emit the projectile, but the cannon will need to, in the case of the player, it doesn't really matter. It's just an emitter. In the case of the enemy has to specify a direction to fire. So the bullet will start with a vector, right? So having different projectiles is probably going to help me there. But again, I'll learn, right? I'll either learn this is a terrible design or an acceptable design. So again, the physics process is going to differ, right? Let's switch them around for right this second, then we can come back and we'll show that difference, right? Let's just make it go down, right? Enemy, what don't you like? There's nothing you shouldn't like. Okay, now let's go back to player. No, bullet. Bullet is a player projectile, and enemy fire is an enemy projectile. It doesn't create the user. It's not missing the user. Again, the documentation, when you first start it, it's going to create a blank database. You then run the create test account, which is what my PR adds user registration to the UI, right? It wasn't there previously. So this PR does add user registration in there, but you can register a user with water drink water by running this create test account once you've started it up. So you just go in, start up the application, and then go here and hit play. And it'll create this, it'll register this user. The intent is not to seed the data with the database there. So that's why this is there, and that's why there's an issue out there to say, hey, go and create all the sample API endpoints. And I'm not going to invest any time in doing the in sorting out the SwaggerGen stuff because they're removing that in .NET 9. They're replacing it with No, actually, just removing it, and they expect you to use their stuff. I think you can actually. I think your cannot should say. Oh, yeah, should say. Okay. That would remove the subclass. Likely. Let's see if we can there's still a challenge in where it emits from. That still differs. I just want to see it work on that. I'm totally in agreement. I'm not. Again, it's kind of that evolutionary path, right? Let me see it, and then let me. Okay, so that's the player projectiles. So that's the bullet. That's the enemies. So then then that should work because they should be attached. Oh. What don't you like? So you don't mind that. Okay. There you go. So my player can now shoot up. There, that is because there's a collision overlap, and there's nothing to tell them, oh, what are you firing? So they couldn't CC it. It just started firing and blip. So as it came on screen, blip. So I can still fire up because I'm firing off global position. They're firing off position. Yeah. But they're firing down now. That's the key differentiator. They're firing down. Now, yeah, their cannons are potatoes in the end of them. Oh, just as I made progress. Okay, so I'm gonna have to leave it here because I can't play around today with my timing. I can't push it too much further. So I will continue to tinker with this. Tomorrow, this is the sort of stuff I will tinker with this off stream when I can. I'm not reserving this purely for stream. Likelihood is stream, but I'm thankful for ad break. I know that we'll give that a minute. We'll wait for the ad break to finish, but I am thankful for you guys hanging out today. This has been a lot of fun. Something different. Dota, if you still have any issues with WDW, just let me know. Thankful for ad break. Yeah, I'm gonna get rich off the Twitch ads, right? I think this is moving along. I think I'm picking up the idea, and tomorrow we'll try and get the directionality of those bullets working, and then see how they differ. Seems to be cooking now. I can edit stuff and see result. Nice, cool. Yeah, if there's any notes you have, we can improve the documentation there. Yeah, feel free. Oh, debugger. That's a lot of things. Gotcha. Yeah, you can go away. I think that's the professional way to add to deal with errors. You just clear the debugger. I think what that is if notifier. Although that was happening an awful lot, but that was the bullets, right? So, it's because I queued them. I queue freed them. You probably don't need to do that when you queue free. Queue free native cells, native calls. Get pointer. Will that release the memory? If pointer 0, null it out. Okay. Right. So, but that will. I don't need to unsubscribe because that's normally good practice. Let's see if that changes. No, I'm already overlapping because I just want to see that work. Yeah, that's not right. Anyway, okay. Let's hope it does, otherwise you end up with memory leaks everywhere. Oh, I think I know what that. I think I know what that changed. Hold on. Yeah, that's why. It's because of that. It's because I went and messed around with things. That would be another benefit for using the get node, is that you would never do that. Like you said, I think you said that earlier on. We're just repeating that point that you made, because every time I change that, it resets that, and that's a challenge. So that should not cause as many issues now. Yeah, no issues. So, okay. So apart from me getting infinite score, because everything just terminates itself, yeah. Okay, so that's that. I'll be back tomorrow with this. We'll continue on this. Tomorrow, the goal will be to get those cannons to fire at the player direction at the point it sees them. So that'll be interesting, because I won't know. Because that'll be my first, hey, I need to know where you are. How does that work? I've got an amusing idea, but we'll test that tomorrow. So anyway, let's go over to, and now I can actually raid a game dev streamer without actually feeling guilty about it. Sometimes we're doing app dev, I worry that moving to a game dev streamer is not as solid, but thank you for joining me. Thank you for coming and hanging out. This has been a lot of fun. I will be back tomorrow with more of this, and then and my hope is that I can get some of the UI stuff done for my main project by Wednesday, so it's not as quite as rough looking. So this was great. Thank you very much, Trap. Thank you very much for hanging out. I will be back tomorrow. Take care all. Let's go see Fullbots. Thank you.